The Washington Commanders were the feel-good story of the 2024 season as they went from the number 2 pick to the NFC Championship game, and they've got a superstar playing quarterback for them in Jaden Daniels. This is a team that I really think has the opportunity to capitalize and contend for a Super Bowl very soon, and they have been active this offseason, bringing in Deebo Samuel, bringing in Laramie Tunsil. I really like the direction that this franchise is going. Today, we're going to be doing a 7-round Washington Commanders mock draft, and this is one of my favorite teams to watch, one of my favorite teams to draft for, because I really think they could go a bunch of different ways, and this could be a really interesting one. So if you guys are new to the channel, consider hitting that like and subscribe button. Comment down below which players you guys would be targeting for Washington, and also check out my Patreon page. I'll leave that linked in the description below, but it's $5 a month, and you guys will get exclusive access to my in-depth draft guide and big board. There's over 450 prospects, combine and pro day numbers, player statistics, comparisons, scouting reports, everything you guys need to get familiar with some of these draft prospects. It is available to you in the link in the description below, and it's an easy way to support the channel. But I don't want to waste any more time, guys, so let's go ahead and get into this mock draft for Washington. So we're going to do a mini trade back here with the Buffalo Bills, moving back legitimately one spot. I guess there's a player on the board that they want to come up and make sure that we don't grab, but we are moving pick 205 to pick 109. So a no-brainer for me to just move up the draft board and get some significantly better draft capital. So I'm going to make this move here with Buffalo. So we're on the clock here at pick 30, and to me, this is a no-brainer given the way that the board has fallen. It's going to be Nick Emmanwori from South Carolina. I think he could go as high as 13 to the Dolphins, and I could see him falling out of the first round entirely. But for Washington here at pick 30, he is a perfect fit for this defense that Dan Quinn wants to run. He's so versatile, and you can play him in a bunch of different alignments. He can play in the box. He can play single high. He can play strong. He can play free. And this is a team that lost some help in the secondary. Jeremy Chin went to Vegas. They have lost some pieces. Emmanwori is a chess piece. You can move him all around the defense, and I think he can be successful. He is an absolute freak of an athlete at 6'3", 220 pounds, ran a 4.38 with a 1.49 split, at a 43-inch vertical, 11.6 broad, had a perfect 10 on the RAS score. He's perfect for this secondary, and I think he is going to be able to play in a bunch of different schemes, bunch of different alignments, and be a really good piece next to Quan Martin in this safety room. I really like Emmanwori as a prospect. I think it's a possibility he's on the board here. I would be a little surprised, but I think the value is too good to pass on a player of this caliber, especially at a position of need. So I'm not going to think twice about it. I'm going to go Nick Emmanwori here at pick 30. So we're going to make another trade down here with the New York Giants. I know, division trade, unlikely, but they're willing to give us an extra pick in this draft class to move back 4 spots. We don't have a pick in between pick 128 and 245. We're going to add a 5th rounder here, trade back from 61 to 65, but pick up 154 in the process. So we're on the clock here at pick 65, and there are some really great options on the board for us. And we're going to look at the edge department. JT Tuimoloau out of Ohio State is a really intriguing pass rusher. He's 6'4", 265. While I like some of the things that he showcases as a pass rusher with violent hands, great upper body strength, power, body control, he's yet to really piece it all together. This is a player that is coming off a career best season where he got into the backfield a lot, but I still feel like he has inconsistencies at winning off the line of scrimmage. But what I love about Tuimoloau, he gives you a very high floor as a run defender. This is a team that just needs some bodies on the defensive line. I think Tuimoloau fits that, but I'm also considering going a different direction here. One that I haven't seen very often, and I'm thinking of going receiver for this team. Deebo Samuel's got 1 year left on his deal. I believe Terry McLaurin also has 1 year left on his deal. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. Receiver could become a need for this team really quickly, especially when you factor in you lost De'Ami Brown. And this is a team that put a lot in to get Deebo Samuel. They traded a 5th round pick, and he just hasn't been able to stay on the football field. So I think they could look for another option in this receiving room. And I really, really like Jalen Noel out of Iowa State. I think he is an incredible player who can run routes at a very high level. He's a very good seam stretcher. He's incredible of working the middle of the field. He is a bit undersized, but I like him much better as a prospect than I liked Luke McCaffrey, and I think he is going to be a perfect fit for this team. He's 5'9", 196, ran a 4.39 at the combine. He is undersized, but I think he plays bigger than he's listed. He's more physical than you'd expect. He is a really good athlete, and there's just a lot to really like about his game. And then there's obviously the running back position, which I think they could look to target later. So I'm going to pass on running backs now. It's between Noel and Tuimoloau. And when I look at the board, I just don't really, I feel good about the edge rushers at pick 109, whether that be a David Walker, who I absolutely love, whether that be a Tyler Barron, whether that be Jordan Birch if he's on the board. I think the value there, man, this is a tough one. I think I am going to go Tuimoloau. It is a bigger need for this team right now. I think he can give you a little bit as a pass rusher, especially with how they deploy Frankie Louvu. I think they could get him a lot of one-on-one looks where he is going to be able to capitalize. And like I mentioned, he's a really good run defender. So I'm going to take JT Tuimoloau here at pick 65. Once again, we get another really good trade offer, and I'm not going to turn it down. I'm just looking to add more draft capital here. They lost a third rounder for trading for Laramie Tunsil. They lost a fifth rounder for trading for Deebo Samuel. I'm going to try and maneuver the board here a little bit, and Tampa Bay wants to move up 12 spots. They're willing to give us 157 to do so. I'm not going to think twice about it. I'm going to make this deal with the Buccaneers. Here at pick 121, this is where I am going to go with a running back. Austin Eckler, they've got on the team. He's a fine number 2. Brian Robinson has his moments, but I don't think he's a number 1 back in the league. I think they need a little bit more speed in the backfield because I don't really think they have that home run threat. You got Deebo Samuel, who I think is going to play a little bit of running back for them, but once again, I don't really think that's the long-term answer. Everyone's going to tell me, take Dylan Sampson. He will not be on the board here at 121. I'm operating with the mindset he's not here. I'm going to go RJ Harvey out of UCF. I think he's a really good fit for this team. Ran a 4.4 flat, which is a very good time. He's super quick, light on his feet with one of the nastiest jump cuts in the entire draft class. Great vision, has the ability to bounce runs to the outside. And like I mentioned, an incredibly patient runner. But I also like what he can do as a receiver a little bit more. I had 267 receiving yards this past season on 20 receptions. Bishal Tutin's the other guy, but I worry about the fumbles and I worry about the lack of receiving production. I think RJ Harvey gives me a little bit more in that department. So I'm going to go with RJ Harvey here. I love his speed, love his footwork. I think he gives you a little bit more as a receiver. He is a little bit undersized at 5'7", 207, and he has been utilized a ton in the UCF offense. So you might worry about how much does he have left on his legs, but as a speed threat in this backfield, I would really, really like him to Washington. He's going to be my pick at 121. Here at pick 128, I am going to go with the cornerback position because I like what Washington has done. They've revamped this secondary. They traded for Marshawn Lattimore. Really liked that move for them. I really like the addition of Jonathan Jones as just a veteran presence in the locker room. But I still think you can get better at the cornerback position. You got Noah Igbenogany, I believe, slotted to start in the nickel right now. And he's fine. I don't not like him, but I think you can upgrade there. I think Mikey Sainer still, as good as he played on the boundary, I like him as a nickel defender. And I'm going to take a boundary corner here in Noel Williams out of California. If you guys saw my cornerback rankings, I've got Noel Williams as my number 10 corner in the draft class. And I really like what he brings to the table. He's 6'1", 200 pounds, ran a 4.5 flat, which you might be a little bit concerned about, but he's just a guy that just has a knack for the football. Really fluid hips, great ball skills. A guy that had, I believe, 7 interceptions this past season for California. He just moves really well. He's got the instincts and closing speed to get into the backfield, make a play on the football. I really like that about his game, but I also think he is a solid overall just athlete. I think he's faster than what his testing time leads. He's a great tackler, only a 5.7% missed tackle rate. And I think if you play a press coverage scheme, He's going to be a absolute monster for you. He reminds me a lot of Trayvon Diggs, who Dan Quinn is very familiar with. I think he's got a lot of those traits in his game. He is a bit of an older cornerback prospect. You might want to see him add on a little bit more muscle mass, but I think he's gonna be a good corner. Be a little bit less aggressive, less physical, but those ball skills and traits you can't really teach. He's my top corner on the board here. I know a lot of people like Dorian Strong. I'm not really a big fan of his, but I think Noel Williams is a really good pick here at 128. Here at pick 154, I'm just going to go out and get another offensive lineman. I love Laramie Tunsil. I think he's one of the best offensive linemen in football. I think that you've got Andrew Wiley on 1 year left on his deal at the right tackle position. Sam Cosmi is going to be out for a little bit, presumably, with his injury. I think just adding another body for depth here in the 5th round makes a lot of sense, and I am a huge fan of Logan Brown out of Kansas, one of my guys in the draft class. I think he's awesome. He's 6'6", 312 pounds. He ran a 5.18 at the combine. He's just a really good athlete that is light on his feet, gets to the second level well, can be a really good finesse run blocker, and I think he's got some upside in pass protection as well. Stronger anchor that I'd love to see. I think given his frame, you can kick him inside, you can keep him at the right tackle spot. I think he could be a really good offensive lineman for you. You'd like to see him play a little bit more balanced. You'd like to see him improve. He gets beat inside a lot, but I think adding him as another depth piece on this offensive line, where you got Brandon Coleman, who I think can do a lot of the same things, but now you just have 2 of those guys. So if injuries happen, which they always do, you've got plug-and-play options here. I really like Logan Brown. I think offensive line is still a need and something that when you've got a franchise quarterback, you've got to make sure he's protected. And I think adding Logan Brown, especially with Andrew Wiley being a free agent next year, makes a ton of sense for them here at 154. Here at pick 157, I am going to go with a receiver. I think they could have gone receiver a lot earlier, but I got a different plan in mind, and I think you could be in a good spot here if you ended up with Isaac TeSlaa out of Arkansas. One of the biggest winners of the NFL draft combine. He's a really fun player. He is 6'2", 212 pounds, ran a 4.43, 39.5-inch vertical, 10.9 on the broad jump. I mean, this is a guy that started his career at Hillside College for 2 years. He's been at Arkansas for the last 2 years, and he's just a big slot weapon. He's got a large catch radius, shows the ability to create separation. He's a good blocker for the receiver position, but given his size and play style, he's kind of a mismatch nightmare as a slot receiver. He's got phenomenal hands that I'm really impressed by. 71.4% contested catch rate, which is phenomenal. This guy just catches everything that's thrown his way. You worry about the production. He hasn't really been super productive. And as a route runner, I don't think he's super sharp. I think he's smooth, but he's not really quick or decisive as a route runner. I'd like to see that get better for him at the NFL level. I think he can get better at that. He's a really fun player, though, and a guy that I think has the potential to be a solid receiver at the next level. He's got the athleticism, he's got the frame, the hands that you look for. And I'm a big fan of what he can do as a complement to Terry McLaurin, as a complement to Deebo Samuel. So I'm going to take Isaac TeSlaa here at pick 157. Here at pick 245, I am going to take another edge rusher for Washington because you can never have too many of them. And I think you need a true number 1 edge. So taking as many shots as you possibly can is a good option. And I'm going to go with Ethan Downs out of Oklahoma. A guy that I really didn't like upon first watch, but after his combine where he ran a 4.69, 1.62 split, 32 reps on the bench, had a 34-inch vertical, 9.11 on the broad. There's some stuff here that is really intriguing. I think he's got good size. He's 6'3", 272 pounds. He can play in both odd or even fronts. Again, really good run defender. He stuffs gaps really well. He's got a really good rip-through move that he showcased, and he's got solid athleticism. I think you'd like to see his change of direction get better. You'd like to see him rush with a little bit more of a plan. But here at 245 in the 7th round, absolutely a guy that I'm willing to take a chance on. I think he makes a ton of sense for this team and is just another body for this edge rusher group. So I'm going to take Ethan Downs as our final pick here at 245. So there we have it, Commanders fans, our 7-round Washington Commanders mock draft. We maneuvered the board a little bit, added some extra draft capital, and I think this might be the best mock draft I have done for any team. Improving the secondary, getting some bodies on the defensive line, adding a really good corner that I love, adding a depth offensive lineman, and a slot receiver in Tesla that I think is a perfect complement to the receiving group you already have. But I'd love to hear from you guys down in the comments section. What would you guys have changed? Which picks would you guys have made? We'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. I'll see you guys in the next one. Adios.